What is up, guys? This is Spear, and today we'll take a look at a brand new approach to sound design. Over the last month I have been hard at work creating this new sound design technique, which I call visual sound design. It takes sound design out of the rack and brings it into the sequencer, giving us full control over our sounds and taking a lot of stress from the CPU so we can create bigger projects with more intricate sounds. But before I go any further, let's just take a quick listen to what visual sound design can achieve and to the sound that we'll build today. As you can hear, it's this very nice kind of growly bass texture with a lot of saturation, but there's no saturation unit or plugin involved of any sorts. It's all right here where we can see it, totally accessible in the sequencer, which is just one of the many upsides of visual sound design. So let's get into rebuilding this sound. In visual sound design, all you need to create sounds are basic building blocks. And what I have right here is just one wave cycle of a sine wave and one wave cycle of a pulse wave. And with these two blocks, we can create basically anything that we can come up with in our heads. So as a starting point, let's create a new track in our sequencer and copy over our sine wave. And now all we have to do is duplicate this a couple of times, so that we turn our one wave cycle into an actual note. So I'm just gonna duplicate this out for 1/4 of a bar, and already we have a nice sound going. As you can hear, visual sound design introduces a very nice kind of saturation to the sound from the get-go, which is just due to the little uneven parts right here when the wave cycle resets. But this is great, we don't make mistakes, we only have happy little accidents. And visual sound design promotes just the right accidents, like this one, which gives us a very nice saturated sound from the get-go. Moving on, let's create a dynamic part to the sound, because as it is right now, it sounds quite static and boring. So let's chuck in another track in our sequencer. And on this one, we will create a pulse layer that will dynamically move throughout this note. And to do this, we'll just go right into our pulse clip right here and cut out just the upper part of this little pulse and pull it down so it aligns with the end of our first sine wave cycle clip down here. And then we can just pull it out all the way to the start. Next up, we'll cut out the piece where it goes, where the negative pulse comes in. And we'll just reduce the volume of this one to -infinity and then join the clip back together, leaving us with a single pulse right at the end of the wave cycle. Now we'll do a similar thing with the negative pulse and the second sine wave cycle. Make sure it aligns nicely here at the end, so we don't have any unevenness here. And once again, we'll pull it out so it aligns with the first wave cycle. And once again, we will get rid of the middle pulse right here by just bringing down the level to -infinity on the cutout part. Let's join this back up. And we have a very nice kind of pulse wave sound. And to take a listen to it, let's duplicate this wave cycle as well, so it's just as long as our sine wave. Let's take a listen. As you can hear, we've created a very nice kind of pulse wave texture. But we're going to take it a step further. And to do this, let's just select all of these pulse clips and reduce them in length until they are only the pulse. What this allows us to do now is, when we have all those clips selected, we can time stretch them. And what this does is, when it's not just a single clip but multiple clips, it allows us to change the position of these clips dynamically. So what we can do is, when I hit Control and drag on the last clip, and let's just take it and move it right into the middle of the last sine wave cycle. What we have done now is we have moved the last pulse right into the middle, but the first pulse is still at the end. And all of those pulses in between are somewhere between the middle and the end, so that they move closer towards the middle, towards the end of this note. This way we have created some very nice motion and some nice dynamics, which you'll hear in a second. But first up, let's combine these two sounds that we just made. So to do this, we'll select all of the pulses we've created, and we will just ignore the technical difficulties right here. Okay. And we will pull them down into our sine wave track so that they are exactly where they were above, but now in our sine wave track. And now all that's left to do is select all of our clips and join them together, hitting Ctrl J, and we have our brilliant and nice looking wave, which we just created ourselves without any help from any devices in a visual sound design environment. Let's solo this track and take a listen to what we just made. And as you can hear, it's this very nice kind of saturated growly texture, which we can now use in our track. And you can take visual sound design a lot further and build your own drums, your own kicks and snares to complement this bass. And all you need to do to create melodies, you don't even need notes or MIDI controllers or anything. You just take another clip of this one and then just time stretch it accordingly. So if we make it shorter, we raise the pitch. And if we make it a lot longer, we lower the pitch. And already we have a sick riff, which I'm totally gonna use in my next track. Alright, I hope I could convince you that visual sound design is the future, and you will all now also renounce basic devices and plugins. You don't need those anymore. You have the sequencer, it's all you need. Alright, that's it. See you next time. Have a good one of whatever you're having.